The best way to check the steering stem bearings is to hold the front brake and rock the bike back and forth. If you hear a knocking sound in the headset, feel or see movement, as you do here, they're bad. For those curious as to how long this may take, I'm going to set a stop clock and time the job from start to finish.
Quivering, kissing the ring in slow motion. Digital lipstick, a shade corrosive. Oil thing kicking the frog, never noticed. How many times did we question the motive?
Now I'll loosen the upper and lower triple clamp bolts and remove the forks. The steering stem bolt is one of the tightest bolts on the bike. You'll likely need some leverage for this one. If you're unsure about getting everything back together in the order it goes, simply take some pictures for reference as you tear it apart. That can be a huge help. Removing the lower bearing race from the headset can be a bit difficult. The upper one is usually easier, and once it's out, there's a trick for the lower one. Here's the trick for removing the lower bearing race, and it's not necessarily an 1.25" socket. It's a metal cylinder that measures between 43.55 and 43.70 millimeters in diameter. In this case, it's an 1.25" socket. But not all sockets have the same wall thickness, so do not just grab an 1.25" socket and pound it into the headset of the frame. It has to be measured with a caliper. Junkie tends to disregard popular opinion and conventional methods. Follow this procedure at your own risk. You've been warned. I clean out the race cradle and the headset and apply a thin layer of grease before inserting the new bearing race. And make sure you're installing the race correctly. It only takes a dunderhead moment to put it in upside down, and one dunderhead moment can lead to a lifetime of regret. In case you're wondering, I'm using a Maddox driver set. This or something similar is a must-have when dealing with bearings and seals. I clean the lower race cradle and applied a thin layer of grease. Again, be sure to install the race correctly. Installing this bad boy upside down may lead to grief and anguish, or even deep despair and depression. I've placed the old race against the new one to achieve the required recessed depth. The lower bearing comes off the stem easier if you cut the cage away. I'm using a dull, almost blunt chisel to pound the old bearing housing off the steering stem. It provides more contact surface than a punch and works quite well. Place the lower dust seal over the steering stem and pack the bearing really good with grease. Okay, so this is the upper bearing. The lower bearing will slide further down than this. I'll use the old bearing frame to assist with driving the new bearing on. Be sure not to pound down on the outer bearing cage. You want to hit the inner steel frame of the bearing. The tool they make for setting this bearing cost over 60 bucks. So this tip will save you a lot of money, and it really works. This is a piece of 1.25" Schedule 40 PVC. I paid 4 bucks for a 2-foot piece and cut it in half. Make sure the bottom of the steering stem is on a solid surface to reduce the risk of pounding it loose from the triple clamp. More grease. You can never have too much when it comes to the steering bearings. If you don't have a spanner wrench for the castle nut, a good pair of channel locks will work. You want a pair with rounded jaws and sharp teeth. Initially, I tighten the nut about as tight as I can go, within reason, to make sure the bearings completely seat in the races. Then, I back it off until the steering feels nice and smooth. This is a great time to inspect your forks. There's a little bit of oily crud at the base of mine, which could indicate a leak in the seals. But this bike is my rider, and I plan on rebuilding the suspension this winter anyway, so these will just have to get me through this season. I'm just snugging down the upper triple clamp bolts for now. Before I tighten anything, I'll put the wheel on, since the axle helps align the forks. Now this is pretty important. Before I tighten the steering stem nut, I have to loosen the top triple clamp bolts that I snug down to hold the forks in place. The upper triple clamp needs to be able to move as I tighten the stem nut. So I'll snug the lower triple clamp bolts down and loosen the ones in the upper triple clamp, and then tighten the steering stem nut. The steering stem nut gets hella torque, more than my torque wrench delivers, so I'll just have to do it with the arm gauge. The triple clamps, on the other hand, don't require much torque at all. I torqued the lower triple clamp pinch bolts to 12 foot-pounds and the upper triple clamp to 16. Over-tightening the triple clamps can damage the forks.
Until the roles reversed, we became the gears we turned. We didn't use the thing we learned. We got too close to the ones and O's till we lost control. You didn't wanna believe. You didn't wanna believe. You didn't wanna believe in the rise of the machines.
And that's what you want. When it starts to turn, it goes on its own. Perfect. Nice and tight. No noise, no movement. Time check. 2 hours, 41 minutes. And that includes staging the camera and light. And contrary to popular belief, it takes a lot of time to run the camera and film everything. In reality, this job largely depends on how much one struggles with the races in the headset and the lower steering stem bearing. But 2 hours is a reasonable expectation for anyone with an average mechanical ability, whatever that is. That's going to wrap it up for this one. Until next time, run her like a scalded dog and keep it on the track. Thanks for watching.